So this is one of the best gifts I've ever made and one of the saddest unresolved outcomes that's still ongoing. But we'll get to that in a moment. To clarify, this is a fish and chips basket for a friend in 2019, way before COVID was on the radar. Okay, and it looks like our print is done after 5 hours for each side. Let's take it off the build plate. Oh, this is so satisfying. We're just like peels away like that. And we have our perfect little brim on the outside and our parts inside here. We're gonna have to break away all the support material, but our magnets should fit beautifully inside these holes that we designed, and they'll snap perfectly to the other part here. So this can look like one whole piece of fried cod. So the entire reason I'm making this is from a YouTuber convention called Workbench Con, where my friend Jessie from the channel iJessup and I were having fish and chips for lunch. She said something that was quite disturbing, which was that she liked her fish and chips with a soggy bottom and that the UK makes the best soft batter. Now, I've been living in London for the last 8 years, so I know a thing or two about British fish and chips, but I'm also born and raised on the west coast of the United States, and that means crispy, delicious breaded fish and fries. So I'm going through all this effort of making an entire fish and chips basket where I designed everything to be 3D printed, CNC'd, and laser cut, just to mail it to Jessie so she can have a representation of a slice of disgusting, soft UK culinary cuisine. Now, as I mentioned, I made and filmed all of this before COVID was even a thing, and the roller coaster ride of the world shutting down is just getting started, which plays into the ending of the story. But for now, let's just stay with the build of everything that's going great for this fish and chips basket. When it comes to the chips, I wanted to make them out of wood and design each of them to be different and unique. So I CNC'd these on my X-Carve, but they were just a bit too thick on the underside. So rather than buying a proper disc sanding machine, instead I made this low-budget version from my outdoor workbench. And holding my random orbital sander down with a couple of zip ties was able to remove each of the fries. Now, if you really look close at a French fry, you're gonna notice that it's not parallel. It has like a curve to it because you would imagine that the potato is gonna be curved on the side. So let's sand them all so that they have more of a curved profile on one side. I'm doing about 30 fries, and I had measured these from my calipers from the same actual fish and chips that I used to design the soggy cod. I want to give these a fried look before I put oil on them, so I'm hitting them with a torch for a shoshugibon effect that I first learned about from my buddy over at Johnny Builds. Then I gave them a couple coats of oil, and they're starting to look and smell pretty good. And what fish and chips isn't complete without mushy peas? So I designed and printed out these, along with some other fish picker-upper fork things that the Brits use. Now, while I was making all this stuff, for basically a one-time joke that I'm sure Jessie doesn't even remember, isn't only because I hate soggy fish and mushy fries, but also to see an idea all the way through, no matter how impractical it may seem. And I know a video like this isn't going to get a lot of views, at least until the 3D printed fish market becomes a trending topic, but that's not the point. Because it's about thinking in the most unconventional and creative ways that I possibly can. So I'm putting as much care and detail in this that I possibly can, and it would be absolutely horrible if, perhaps say, this entire gift is shipped out at the height of a COVID pandemic, and all of the world's mail and postal service grinds to a halt and loses this priceless box. But things like that don't really happen, so everything should just carry on smoothly. So I designed and cut out this fish box on my laser cutter, along with engraving a quote and outer details. And having these hinges without any screws just looks weird, even though they're glued down, so pre-drilling and cutting these screws down so that they won't poke through will add a nice touch. So, reality check, this whole thing was tracked and shipped from London to Oregon, but on the way from Portland to California, it just went missing. I called everyone I could, sent countless emails to the postal service, explained this video, but it's never been recovered. Now, this was over 4 years ago, so maybe one day a mail carrier will find it in an airport corner somewhere, but at least we have this video to show what could have been the greatest joke gift of some soggy cod to a friend. So here's Past Joe showing all of the cool details and beauty shots of this project. Roll it. Okay, so this project took the longest. It's almost been a full year since Workbench Con started, but this is gonna be a great Christmas gift and I'm calling it done. So first we have the box that this is gonna house everything, and it's, I think, one of the nicest things I've made so far, with the clasp here of that magnet right on the inside. It's really a really cool laser job that I did there, and it just snaps right in perfectly. It's so satisfying. Again, with the inside of the best soggy bottoms in town. Since Jessie likes her soggy bottom fish, that brings us to the fish, and it's plenty of magnets on the inside to hold these together. And the fish itself, a nice soggy bottom, has plenty of pieces to be cut like a fish. So it has the axis of this angle and the yaw, so it's got a tilt and a yaw for each piece, and it just slides off, and you can't screw it up, hopefully, by putting the wrong piece in the wrong area, because all of the magnets are specific to that certain area. I changed each piece so that they only fit for each other, and same with the polarity. Then we have our peas as well, our mushy peas. That's just a simple 2 magnets underneath there. There were, I think, 64 magnets in total that I used for this whole project. Then we have our standard British fork sticks that you use to grab the fish, and that's with my logo and everything. And each of the chips are individually made as well, so they each have their own curve to them, their own varnish, and their own kind of like style with the gloss that you would have if it was kind of deep fat fried in, like, you know, a nice batter and everything. So very glossy chips. These are nice. I like these. I might keep a couple for myself. Also, the lemon wedge. I wanted that 3D printed, but not in a standard FDM way. I wanted to like have like a resin to give it this weird kind of almost transparent look. Put that Sharpie on the back, and it looks pretty nice. It looks like the best I'm gonna get for a lemon that's gonna be 3D printed. So that turned out really well. Then just the regular salt and pepper, and I'm gonna finish it by wrapping everything in this box. So I went to the local fish shop there, just asked for the box, and they asked what it was for, and I just said I'm a YouTuber. So this is gonna be wrapped up in this, which works really well. And yeah, hopefully Jessie likes this. Even if she doesn't, it's soggy bottom, so I don't want it. It's all yours. Oh, and the best part is, you know how inside of a fish box there's usually a piece of paper to soak up all the grease and everything? Well, instead of a regular piece of paper, I'm putting in the old company that I used to work for, which is called Ollie Damon's. They're not around anymore, but they started my whole process on making. We'd fix fishing reels, lanterns, stoves, air guns, and we just repaired outdoor equipment. And it was a great experience, a great time. A lot of, yeah, wise old makers back there that taught me a lot of what I know. And so that perfectly fits inside for the newspaper to soak up all of the grease for the fish. So that's a nice final touch. Anyway, Jessie, I know it's been a crazy year, and since you can't come over here, I'll send soggy fish and chips to you. I hope you enjoy it, and keep on making. Well, Jessie, I hope you can imagine this on your kitchen counter, and I have all of the 3D files here if you want to make this all over again. And if you're not Jessie, I have more videos for you that didn't get lost right here.